see you there. Welcome. My little corner of happiness. Not with that scene, not too sure how happy we are, but yeah. You'll have to excuse me because I have a couple of things I have to do before I start. Okay. I apologize because like my internet's on the blink, big style, and there's not really anything I can do about it. That's unfortunate, but we can deal with it. Don't worry. Okay. Hopefully we're good. So let's see if I can get this working it, and let's just hope that it hasn't messed up since I last played. It still works. Ooh. Yes. Right. I'm trying to remember where we left it off. I seem to recall that... What were we talking to you about? Oh, right. Yeah, we were like interfering with the like, you know, the whole like investigation and stuff, and it was like, no, you can't be here, blah 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 blah. And then Iris stood in prison and was like, kind of like, you're going to let these men investigate, otherwise I'm going to go and cut your body, if you catch my drift.
Yes, of course, not no, madam. Absolutely fine and dandy.
The second redemption ticket. Right, let's see what he's got to say. Let's see what he's got to say about this, because this could be like the turning point. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilda's overcoat.
Yeah? You need to tell me.
Yes. It was more than just the music box disc, it seems.
I should have insisted on the lads taking it back at the yard. Taking it back to the yard and examining it properly.
Well, according to... I can't go that high anymore. And that just proved that I've been, like, slacking up. Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilda deposited another article here with Mr. Winterbank.
Yes, I can see it all written here. Small box.
You have any idea where it is, Greg's egg? Not here at all. It's in an article belonging to Mr. McGilda. It could be an important clue.
Well, yes. As it could be. Please stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes. While I'm open. Expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles, I will. I'll go barking mad.
This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector.
That's enough sauce from you, sunshine.
I have way too much fun with the really deep British accents because like you can instantly be like,
Right. Get home, otherwise I'm gonna smack your bum. There is one more thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it?
oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So, the small box will no longer be in here then?
That's right. Been forfeited.
Which means it could be on the shelves in the front shop where the forfeited items are offered for sale. Yes. The shelves in the front. We must search them at once.
You're wasting your time.
Oh?
There are dozens of little boxes out there. Hundreds even. You can't possibly know which one might have been McGilded. That information's not written in the ledger. Ugh.
Well, I think we should have a look. Just in case.
Of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensibly, sure.
This is, getting old. Alright, so we can go and have, like, a proper look now in the main shop. Have we not, like, already looked? I think we got everything here, right? Maybe we'll look up here. Yes, this is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are off for sale. That's right. They've got all the little price labels on them. There are so many. I wonder if the small box this ticket was for is still on the shelf somewhere. Box that McGill deposited here just over 2 months ago. Wrong button. Even if it were, finding its promises to be very troublesome indeed. Oh, even if it were, finding it promises to be troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes. What be any one of them? Mr. Shone said that a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything. More secure than a bank's vault. That's gonna be so, like, precise to this case. I feel it. Like, when he said in his, like, deduction, because the one part about it I remember, because he was saying, like, oh yeah, you use like, the shovels to, like, dig a hole into the bank, which is where, like, all the money's stored and stuff. Instantly that sparked into my mind. That's going to be so useful. Because if there's one thing they tell you in these games, is it's nothing they say is ever useless. It's like, sure, they might give you an autopsy report that's like, did we not tell you that autopsy report was out of date? And then you get like a complete new autopsy report afterwards, and it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not how autopsy reports work, but oh well. Everything that they say in these games is right there, and it's perfect. And Sholmes is the perfect example of Someone who knows absolutely nothing what they are talking about. Because the beauty of it is that, especially the last case where he was talking about a lion, that instantly makes me think, is a lion useful? And in the end it was, because it was part of the book. So perhaps the small box of Mr. McGilded's contains something very valuable? Of very great value? Putting words out there now. Well, if that's the case, they probably have kept it locked. So then, we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open. Yeah. That sort of misconduct. Oh yeah, she's not English. That sort of misconduct would get you arrested. I won't let it happen. This takes me back. Been some time since Suzuto last threw me. They really went overboard with like the with the animation. Oh, that would have been something. Right, where are we looking? Why if we just converse? No? Back to exploring. Back to exploring. There's nothing in here. I'm fairly confident I got everything in here. Just say something while we're moving. If you let your concentration slip, you might miss what people say. Not even like we can talk to police either, because they're just going to say what they've already said today. Police scouring every inch of this place by the looks of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article? That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sifting through all the shifts. Can't do that voice. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure. And even then, we'll barely have scratched the surface. A crime and a pawnbroker's must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know? A crime and a pawnbroker's. Ah, big brain. There's nothing. Green blood. Seems wrong somehow. Oh, there's all sorts of different colours. There are pretty pinks. And purples too. Ah, yes. Like I said, everyone's blood is different. I wonder what colour my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. There you go, that was the one thing I didn't investigate. I can like see the boxes, but it's nothing to interact with. Let's do some more, like, actual investigating. It might be outside. There's still a Scotland Yard carriage outside Winterbanks. I never imagined we'd be investigating a case so close to home. Poor Iris. He's very upset by all this. I'm sorry. I was there and I should have done more. None of this is your fault, Luna. Oh, please, don't apologize. But it's the criminals who are to blame for all of this. So let's investigate and work out how to catch them. Yes, you're right. Phoenix Wright is all like the good like catchphrases. Hold it, take that. Objection. And what does his predecessor get? Yes. It's already been 2 months that we've been taking lodgings here above Mr. Sholmes' office. Still can't quite believe it. Never expected things to turn out like this. When Hurley comes back home, let's have a big party. It's a great idea. I'm sure it won't be long. Mr. Sholmes is very tough. Yes. If we go and visit him, what's he gonna say? Oh, that's the suite. That's not the right place. There's no one here yet. Anyone here? Gina doesn't appear to be here. I believe, I keep messing the voice. Hang on, let me have some coffee. That might like cover throat. Blah. Blimey, that is like strong stuff. Oh, I'm gonna be awake all night now. I believe. Let me get the voice. I believe. I believe he must be in questioning at the moment. Oh, but wait a minute. Is it Iris? Well, if you examine the scene here carefully, there's another possibility, isn't there? Ginny could have slipped the key from the jailer when he wasn't looking and escaped. Oh my! Why? Why would she do something like that? It would only make her situation worse. Calm down, Rino. I was only joking, of course. Oh. You had me worried there. I thought it was a great deduction. Yes, it must be your way with words, Iris. You're so wonderfully persuasive. Perhaps you don't fully understand the weight that your words carry. Oh dear, I'm sorry. I suppose a light-hearted great detective is a contradiction in terms. Well, in the same situation, I'm sure Mr. Sholmes would have just thrown his head back and gaffed. I'm not entirely sure that's helpful, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, anyway, it looks like we won't be able to talk to Gina for a while. Wrong character. We should try and make progress with our investigation in the meantime. Yes, come along, Bruno. Come along, Susie. Oh, we can't even investigate, so there's nothing here. And there's nothing in the hospital. There's nothing there. There's not going to be anything there. We're missing something. I can't even talk to, I can't even talk to Thingy no more. You'll have to present another piece of evidence to Gregson. The Hound of the Baskervilles. How did Susato know the exact title of this unpublished story? I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. Why is she sorry? I've got a couple of theories. Inspector Gregson, you didn't mean... that's just like the standard response, isn't it?
Spot on as always, miss. Not very much. Really, it's spot, your ladyship.
Hot Winterbank. That's Mr. Shone's blood. Let's try giving her the manuscript. Oh, my manuscript. Mr. Shone said he deposited it at Winterbank, and he had. But it's so strange. What is it about this particular story? I worked so hard on it. Why would Hurley say I can't publish it? I'm afraid I have no idea. All you can do is wait until he's ready to tell you, I suppose. Oh, maybe it's because Hurley isn't in it enough. We haven't given him enough good lines. Yes. Maybe. I wish I could say that definitely isn't the reason, but I can't. Because it's Mr. Shone. I don't really like boring things. Blah, 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 blah. It's just a standard response. Come to think of it, you're always introducing things with, this is boring, but it's a bad habit, and you should stop it. Ah! Another one. Another wonderful print screen. Yeah, it's got save now. I'll be sure to let the entire population of the Empire of Japan know on my return. So nothing else to present, but you can't examine anything. I've examined everything already. Ah, malware bites. Go ahead. I'm not 100% on the 60% off yet. Leg. This is a strange contraption unless you see pictures of things right in front of your eyes. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that was weird. And they were like, oh yeah, you can do it like just by like going bug-eyed, and then they had all the characters go really bug-eyed. And then I went bug-eyed, and I was like really amazed by it. I was like, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. Oh, that was amazing. Wish I could pull that picture up again because I want to have another go. There's nothing. I've already investigated everything. There's nothing there, there's nothing there, there's nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. We must have to do something with Gregson. There's no other option. Out of all the articles, this is the only thing that shows any signs of being ransacked. Oh, yeah, and this is how we got the manuscript. And the Baskervilles. And it was still in there because we had it. Surely you should be able to repeat like these big like sections. And what did they take? Oh yeah, because she's like really depressed that they didn't take a manuscript. I mean, of course, I believed Hurley when he said he deposited it all here, but still. It's a relief to actually see it. That's not a very well hidden frown. Yeah, she's mad that the people stole stuff from here and didn't steal a manuscript because it then interprets, oh, your manuscript's awful. Even though that's not the case. Well, it might be. I don't know because I haven't read Hound of the Baskervilles if it's even an actual Sherlock Holmes story. But there's nothing here. Gregson! Please! Give me something! Attention tick for the article, says someone ran out of office stationery, blah 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 blah. I'm pretty certain, Brody, in this. And then he just gets really happy down to it. It's like, yeah, whatever you say, madam. You know, it's all perfect. He has two articles and a box outside. The problem is we've investigated everything already. Now my only thought process about this is... Oh, there's two things. It could either be something we've already investigated in the main shop that looks like a box. And the only thing that really speaks to mind... this thing. But where the holding stereoscope. This is Shell's phone, yes. Ah! I'm pretty sure I've seen this. Yeah. We've seen that already. Let's talk to this guy. If you are in the ledger and books accounts. It's the same. The same gist. Because it says like a box. Now, I wonder if like the music box is the box. behind that. If any of them say anything, I'll get Grexy to have a little word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. So that's that theory out of the window. Let's read what the actual court record says. Mr. Winterbank appears to have used Spafford's photograph to write out a redemption ticket. He's written it very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper, so he had used anything he had to hand. Hard to know what's the front and what's the reverse side now. One small box, right? That means somewhere there has to be a singular small box that we can interact with, that we might have already interacted with. Which is why I thought it was this, because it could have been interpreted as a box. But there's no small box. And we've already seen this. I wonder if a small box, this ticket is still on the shelf somewhere. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. It could be any one of them. Mr. John said that a pawnbroker's service plus to stop anything. What's in the bank's vault? Perhaps this small box, Mr. McGill's, contains something of very great value. If that's the case, he'd probably have kept it locked. Oh yeah, and then we just replay the same bit. The thing is, right, I've seen one box that was locked. It was the one with the manuscript. So it's nothing in here. We're wasting our time investigating the front room. I feel like I'm just running in circles here, and it's going to be something like very specific that we have to do at a very specific location. Ooh. I've just had like the most devious thought. I'm not rereading text that I've probably already read.
Not much I can do about that, sunshine.
We'll read the odd thing. Like, they put like these small boxes here. And then there's this one which is locked. And then there's all these boxes up here. You're trying to tell me that none of these are interactable. Okay, I've had a thought. Out here is we've seen next to nothing. I'm just wondering, like, is there something potentially hiding? You know, like a box that's in like left. Or it could be in here. It could be absolutely anywhere, knowing Mr. Shomes. Yeah. He's got a skeleton. Look at Mr. Shomes' desk. It's completely clear. It looks totally different without that enormous machine on it. Helen lives in absolute mess all the time. Sorry, I'm alive. He never notices when things go missing. Even Mr. Shomes must have noticed a huge lump of metal is no longer there. Surely. The great detective, he really is not that great. It's an unusual way to make a huge metal chest as a table for tea and coffee. But it's a very sturdy box, and I've noticed it's always locked. Ah, well, that's because that box contains some of my most important things, which you have no intention of telling me any more about, judging from that guarded smile. Oh, there's like this whole section. Doggy! Nothing on here is probably. Maybe. This is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? Let's see. What does it say today? Ah, the Boscombe Valley mystery. We visited Boscombe Valley recently for a picnic, you see, but I forgot to bring the tea. So, when Hurley became thirsty, he decided to drink from the Boscombe pool. Give himself an awful tummy ache. Oh dear. You don't know what they're doing in that pool, Mr. Sholmes. You gotta be careful. Hurley sat there miserably. As can be in Field of Flowers after that. Just like when you saw him yesterday. That really is an unsavory tale. Haha. There's nothing here. Is like the gist of it. This is just if you want like some clever like comebacks and stuff. I'm looking everywhere for a box. I've only been here in London for about 2 months, but my desk is starting to look a little messy already. Hurley's desk is far worse, you know. I'm sure if I try hard enough, I can make my desk as messy as Mr. Sholmes. I wonder. You don't think I can? Well, it takes a certain genius to reach that level of disorder, you know. The path to true mess is long and arduous. Let's see. I've never seen inside Miss Susito's room. Having so much has put my head around the door. Oh, Susie often invites me up. So much fun. Really? What's a room like? Is that not a bit creepy? I can't tell you that. Oh. A young maiden's private chambers is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. Where have I heard that before? I suppose some things are the same the world over. That's my idea out the window. There's nothing here. There's no... crutches. I wonder what these are. Do you have any idea, Iris? Oh! Haven't you ever seen crutches before? Let me explain. They're for people with leg injuries to help them walk. You hold one under each arm, you see. Ah! Right. I thought they were weapons of some sort. Why would there be weapons inside a hospital? I thought maybe a fighter had been injured in a battle contest and brought here along with his weapons. That's surprisingly plausible. Oh, look, I don't want to be drinking like tea and coffee out of that or that. There's nothing here. This is the be all and end all. Give me 1 second. The part where you need a walkthrough for a game. They should have like the old school spoiler free. Just like, here it is. Spoiler free walkthrough. Converse with Gina. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Converse with Susatom, move to prison, converse with Gina. Examine calendar, examine its shelf, music box, left side desk. Converse with Iris, examine it towards the back end. Okay, so we're quite close to the trial apparently, but I'm gonna make sure I don't read any of the trial one. Right. I want to know exactly what part I'm at, and it's kind of difficult to do that when you can do things out of order. You don't just want to read down this list and go here, do this, go here, do this. It's like you want to learn that for yourself. But I've not done one thing out of these, and there's like loads. Right, tell you what we'll do. Ow, ow, ow. No, he's not interested in that. Is there no like skip forward? I'm sick of seeing the same animation. You can tell that they like put a lot of work into it and stuff. It's just I don't want to see what's his full name? I don't want to see Mr. 44-year-old Tobias Gregson drinking herbal tea 5 times while I try to figure out exactly what I should be doing. What if I present it to nope, she's not having it either. So we're on this, and it's like, move to left side, examine desk, converse with Iris, examine Whitehair, rotate it towards the back, and investigate the blood print. Have we not done that already? Apparently not. You know what I mean? It's like that one thing that you don't do. Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed. There's something rather troubling here. I have noticed. The red smear, you mean? Yes. Looks like blood, doesn't it? If Suzuto-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case, we need Iris. We should show this to her before we forget. See? A very, like, small thing. And let me shut that guide down because I don't want to use it more than I have to. Cool. Now we can present that to Iris. Oh, that looks like blood. I would say it's from a gloved finger. Almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Bruno. You can leave the rest to me. Pink! Or is it purple? More purple, isn't it? Yes, that's a colour we haven't seen before, isn't it? We must add this to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be a very important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colours correspond to at some point. Well, this particular stain of blood. Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is? I think so. Not from the colour it turned, but with a little deduction. That's right. I think it's clear. You know as well? You first, Bruno. Who do you think it belongs to? Alright. I believe this is the blood of... I'm not going to say it's Gina. I don't think it's Gina. It's definitely not Winterbank. That leaves Magnus McGilded or Rice Fried Mason. And it makes sense, actually, if it... Using deduction, Gina wasn't hurt, but what we gotta think is that she had the blood on her gloves when she handed this ticket for the call in. So it's him. It's his blood. Rice Fired Mason. You don't sound very sure of yourself. The way you trailed off there. Well, it was 2 months ago now. That case, and of course I've never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely fired though. The victim of the omnibus case? Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Rice-Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Winterbanks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time. So, it's a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night.
Now I ask yous, why the good-hearted soul was rushing to help a fella bleeding to his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out, gave the man a hand.
He's a scoundrel. He actually committed that crime. And he was lying for his teeth the entire time. Oh, he was such a fun character. It certainly does look like a leather glove thumbprint. This mark. But we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time, anywhere on his body. From which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason. Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes. No, because we didn't get it wrong first. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Exactly. Yes, I think you're right, Bruno. Very well. Let's make note of this. The details of the pawnbroker ticket for the code have been updated in your court record. The blood analysis data has been updated in the court record. Ah! I nearly jumped out of my skin there. How could Mr. Winterbank have set up such a wicked trap? I doubt he set it out to scare anyone. That really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit. Oh. The trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. Of course we are. I think we should ask her one more time. Maybe she's changed her mind. You don't remember, Bruno? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we'd better hurry back to the prison, talk to Gina. This is it, because now we can go back to the prison. He's going to say, yes, you can represent us, and then we go to the trial. Fine by me. Ah, Gina. Good. You're back. Time to see if I can remember Gina's voice. The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Ginny? Was it awful? Didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. Remember we were able to investigate at Winterbank's. Oh, right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying. But I did it. That's not Gina. Came to ask for your final. What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is so hard to bear. There's nothing, she's just like... Go away. Oh, alright then. Oh, I was going kind of Gregson there. Oh, alright then. Blimey. Give it a rest with them eyes, Iris. Come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. Yeah, don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who is the real culprit, there are a number of interesting facts. Facts? Facts. That we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know now why you broke into Winterbanks that night. I have to take the evidence from frustrating Gina's face. Or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. It's not that right. Look, if I was a lawyer, right, and I was going to my wannabe client, right, and they were acting like this, it's not a good look. I get it, right? I get the whole, like, I'm trying to be calm and collected about it. I'm trying to invoke my right to silence. But if someone's there, like, you know, hey, look, I'm here to help. So you can either take my help and I'll try and help you. Or you just get the silent treatment. Kind of like now. We already have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them to the court clerk. That is, if you'll allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Did he? Rip them up and check them, would you? Them representation papers, or whatever they're called. This cell ain't fancy enough to have a bin. So, what will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine on my own. But you won't, will ya? Because the second you're found guilty, they're gonna lynch you. I don't think that you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. This is one stubborn pickpocket. Right, so we've got to present it to her. What's the proof? It's not Iris's manuscript. Oh, no, it is Iris's manuscript. We found this in Mr. Winterback's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris's latest story. Oh. Right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Winterbank showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like. With one exception. The box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina? You broke open the box containing this manuscript last night. You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Why don't you tell us what happened? Please. It's like, this is it, like, you know, if she doesn't take our help now, she's finished. She's gonna take the help. I think it's quite clear she's gonna take the help, because I think, like, if she doesn't, she knows too well that it's only gonna wear bad on her. Sorry, I'm trying to do like one other thing on. This is the problem we have in like spotty internet connection, because you try to do one thing and then it just like doesn't work. I'm gonna have a play around. I'm gonna see if I can get everything running on Linux instead, rather than Windows, because Windows is bad. Nice. Okay, that's done, which is cool. I have a singular announcement. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's talk about Iris's manuscript. Alright, yeah. This Baskerville story. The latest Sholmes adventure, right? It ain't been printed yet. I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least £5,000. What? So, you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No. Ginny. How could you? What? Wait. No, hang on. Of course I weren't going to sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if that mantle script, or whatever you call it, was really there or not. It's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris' sake. Isn't that right? We knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, you know. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you said the night before. What did you say? Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realised it yet. I'm telling you, that martel script ain't at Winterbanks. You'd soon see if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean, I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. The thought crossed your mind. Oh, Ginny, that's so sweet of you. Alright, alright. I'm telling you. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. It weren't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth. That's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest. If he'd really deposited the manuscript at Winterbanks. Like I told you the night before, I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad. Only he can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes the stories. They're about a dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway. Last night, when I was listening to what you were saying, stories about Daddy. You mean they're not the adventures of a great detective? So much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it. Yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Ginny. Yes. And we never thought any differently, did we? Look, eat a rest, will ya? I hate all this chummy nonsense. Yeah, I hate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. Ooh, that hits so differently. Don't trust no one. If you trust no one can let you down. Oof. That's rough. So leave me alone. Go on, Scarpa. No. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there, on both sleeves of that overcoat. Are some very suspicious red stains. What? Why are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in that area to Gina now. Here's the thing, they're not very discreet sometimes. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. Is that correct English? They're blood, aren't they? Those stains on your sleeves, the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They are blood. I'm not 100% certain on that one. That seems to read wrong to me. You could say it's blood. It stains on your... Right, I'm not correcting it. Not that I know whose blood yet. What? Blood? Is there no Hoda? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds on yourself, though. So it could be blood that splattered from Mr. Winterbank when he was shot last night. Let's not beat around the bush. This trusty friend of mine would get the results much faster than anything else. Am I gonna get yellow? I'm gonna get yellow this time. Take it easy, Iris. Don't move, Ginny. I'm going to shoot. What are we gonna get? Yellow? What? Oh. Oh my. What the? Forget the sleeve. The whole coat's covered in blood. course. The black colour of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. Come on, what kind of, like, half put together conviction is that? Oh yeah, the black colouring of the coat covered the bloodstain. But you can still tell there's bloodstains there. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn purple colour, which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Now let's see, who had the purple blood? It was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What are you all going on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. This means the Omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi! Would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story. Well, it was McGilded, wasn't it? there's no two which ways about it. We can see now that the victim's blood was all over Mr. McGilded's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony.
What I ask is, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand.
I love doing that guy's voice. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. Those stains couldn't have arisen from McGilded trying to pull the victim to his feet. No. If that's what's really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it was splattered over McGilded's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, was Magnus McGilded. Probably a good thing he's dead then. Although, what would have happened if we let Eggert Benedict get the coat? That would have been a very interesting particular. I'm chatting nonsense. Mr. Naruhodo, that horrible case is solved at last. And I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I let that happen? Bruno, did you believe him though? Did you believe Mr. McGilded was innocent? I believed. Or rather, I was trying to believe. I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in court, is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? Because, well, no, I was going to say this is the first case that we actually believed in the person who we were kind of defending, because obviously we trust Gina, but I trusted the last guy. The whole what's it called? Literization. person. Alliterization. I'm mixing ellicization, which is sought out online, with alliteration, which is 3 words with the same letter at the beginning. Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean, Cosima?
Listen, Rhinus. We lawyers are only human. We cannot know for sure what is the truth, and what the lie. Which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our client. That's all we really have.
Unwavering belief.
Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us, and we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly.
What's funny, Gina? Oh, sounds like in this empire of Japan you come from, everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's got you into. Believing in that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free. Well, at least you learnt your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. Soon, as you let down your guard, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe in no one. Get hurt by no one. Ina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants. And all now. Mr. I'm a believer lawyer over there. Don't forget, it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? A lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his client. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. The thing is, right, Gina isn't a murderer. With the evidence we have, she's not a murderer, which means I can trust her. He's trying to, like, you know, keep everyone out, but I trust her. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. You are half-baked. Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me truth. Seriously? Mr. Narrow Auto. Didn't you hear what I said before? I'm a born lawyer. Fibs off, just tip off my tongue. And I'm a diver. Don't forget that. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you in all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Tina, I do understand why you chose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there is more to this life than you've yet realized. What you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. It's true that I'm just a student of law, and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. But I can promise you this, whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. Yeah. What? What do you expect me to say to that? He's crying. No, I'm gonna start crying. Oh, that reminds me actually. Give me a sec. Okay, there we go. That is decided. I'll take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern what are. I don't know what you are. I don't get you. Hey, got you. Tina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out alright in the end, I think. Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping at is the height of cowardice. Miss Susato. Somebody's there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. Okay, well it's one of two people. It's either our ominous figure who's been pulling the strings the whole time, or it's Mr. Jones. What? Blimey. Oh, sharp, eh? Oh, it's Gregson.
I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts. But the art stealth I've heard so much about.
If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Rexy.
Oh, hear me. Terribly sorry. Didn't mean to stall you.
How long have you been listening to our conversation?
Good grief. Listening in? No. I just got word that there were some visitors that were refusing to leave in notes after hours. I assure you, ladyship, I just arrived. Just this very minute. Not a moment earlier. That's all it was. Nothing untoward. Nothing at all.
After hours? Is it that late already?
So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now. Your ladyship. Ta-ta, doodle, cheerio, all best, bye and bye.
That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat.
I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute.
Oh, I see. That's a shame.
If I don't get this emergency to the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will,
Emergency. Lord Strongheart.
Nothing! I said anything. Anyway, I'm off.
Alright, Gregory. If you have to, but, chat soon.
Delighted, John, can't wait. Have you please? My pleasures.
That's a lot of pleasantries. Not one of them sounded sincere. Rexy is so funny. This is such a silly thing. It's certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend the court clerk's office now, before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Suzuto. Of course. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. And so our investigation came to an end. Gusto-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Genus the following day, and then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that I had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Gusto would be leaving Britain, making her way back to Japan. How are they gonna, like, counteract this and the whole, like, thing? It's like, she's supposed to be our, like, court helper, like Maya or Truse. Like, I don't understand. We're gonna get Iris instead. Mr. Naruhodo, it's been a very tiring day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. What about you, Suzuto? Today's been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Jones was shot before our eyes and Nina was arrested. All in the back of the news that her father had fallen ill and she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts raged in my head like a storm, and yet I seem unable to find words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow. One final task. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office, and it was finally feeling as if that we're going to settle in. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, though. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know we've only been here a short time, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. And what would that be? It seems to me there are so many facets to people's personalities. Facets. And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and the motives. But we only see a small number of the total facets. Facets? I think I'm saying that right. And what is illuminated is only part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets need? What do those facets we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on, as long as we live. That's so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much, but I keep hoping that one day it will become clear. That all the facades will be... Are they trying to say facade? I could be wrong. But all the facades will be illuminated, and I'll finally understand how everything fits together. I suppose what matters is we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It's amazing to think it's been just 2 months. You've grown up so much. Sorry? What? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. I've got a feeling she's gonna kiss him. That's the final task, isn't it? You know what time you will leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving here at 4 AM. I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Gina's trial. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible. Even though, like me, I'm sure you will find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. I mean, oh my, I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this. What is that? Some huge bundle of documents. It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus. Ah, the McGilded case. It seems to me the case of Mr. Winterbank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case. In ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings and about the case for you. With everything else she had to think about, Susato still managed to do this. And all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Susan. I'll do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. You've always got to bring it down. Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said there. Oh, ignore me. I'm just mumbling to myself. The McGilded case notes have been entered into the court record. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm just finished packing up my things in my room. Suzuto, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait, there's something I need to... What was that? Secret technique of mine. The Suzuto shutdown. Shut down? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. Ah. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, and learning the truth about the nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted. And yet the idea of sleep just seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes. And as a cacophony of... What is that word? Cacophony? Cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind. Eventually, my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. And with that, we were late for court the next morning, as is usual when you have a good sleep. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push out a tweet. This is probably going to take me 2 minutes. I'm going to ad break. I need to push a tweet. The time for court is now. Sure, let's leave it like that. It's these court sessions that I actually like to promote more than the actual investigation, because these are the best ones where like this is where the truth like kind of comes out. I copy this, I can put it in wherever I need it. Once I know that it works. And cool. Okay, so I have 1 minute and something remaining. So I'm not going to start until 1 minute and something's done. How are you doing? How are you faring on this wonderful day of weird and debauchery? No weirdness going on. The world's a scary place, and that's just the way it is. Can't do anything about it. So do your best and keep your head in the right place. Don't let the weirdness of the world come to you and destroy your like weird that little bubble that you end up putting yourself in. Don't let the world do that. You're just as worth the truth as anyone else. Right? Don't let people stop you. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not worth the time or the effort. Those people don't know the time. And most importantly, if it's you that's saying that about yourself, don't listen to yourself. What's that? Is that considered positive enough? It's really weird to try and word that into it. It's like you should listen to yourself, you know. There we go, that is finished. You know, it's like you should listen, make sure you have like all the self like things. But the truth of it is that not always will that be the case. Because obviously you're gonna be like, alright, yeah, blah 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 blah. Oh, I am a complete worthless pile of trash. But at the same time, you'd be like, I did pretty good today. Don't let the world kick you down like that. Just as worth it as anyone else. Because everyone else thinks like that. I think like that. But I can be proud of something I've done during the day, but then be like, get out of here. Like, envy. And the problem is, like, I'm surrounded by that, like, in real life and things where it kind of just comes out. It's like, I think I heard the word, like, I'm going to yeet myself off a building, like, 4 times today. So it's not fun. I'm trying to instill like a role of positivity. It's just a bit difficult sometimes with the old peeps that we've got there. They have a wide vastment of differing mental health issues, and there's only so much you can do. You just got to try and help them. Just reinforce good thoughts and things. Make sure they've got everything they need. Don't feed into the negativity is the problem. And when you're surrounded with it all the time, you kind of struggle a bit. But hey ho, it's not my battle to fight. I'm going to do what I can to help, and in the end after that, it's up to them. Oh, that coffee's like strong. I put way too much coffee in it. Like it's super dark roast as well. Yes, I quite understand.
That's a great weight off my mind. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you, sir. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you. On the contrary, a pleasure in my... I bid you farewell. Godspeed. My dear madam.
I didn't know who was speaking, so you can't voice out that really. That's intriguing, isn't it? I get an awful feeling. And it's going to go one of two ways. Either Strong Heart is like, yeah, we actually need someone to pin the blame on for that omnibus case. Which means he's employed like Mr. Sholmes to ensure that we lose this case. Or it's going to be the other way around. Where he's giving him evidence and going to kind of use that like falsified evidence. I can't see why that discussion would be used otherwise. Okay, trial time. When I awoke the following morning, Suzuto was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down. Let me get rid of this coffee. Like blue coffee. And so began an even longer day than the last. One that I would remember for the rest of my days.
17 April 9:32 a.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant watching.
Good morning, Gina. I am determined to prove your innocence. I am sure we can do it. Where's your friend then? Sorry? You know, her fancy dress. Suzuto, or however you say it. I don't know. Miss Suzuto had to leave early this morning. He was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that? Were you? You can have me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Suzuto and I will meet again one day. Even so, Eugenia, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. Kitty cat! How are you feeling, Ginny? You managed to get some sleep. Meow. Also, why is it meow? Why is it meow? Is it just M-I-O-W? Iris! What are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't Isn't that right, Waggy? Wagahi. Wagahi. Not Waggy, it's Wagahi. Waggy! Great way to show your support, kitty. Let him have a nose around. What arm can it do? Oh, that reminds me. I brought a paper on the way. I bought a paper on the way. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Bruno? You know? Oh, well, I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Nah, always take the good news first. I might not live to hear bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personality. Let's not go there. Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Bad news was a weather report. So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover and that train isn't delayed on its way to the port. Gosh, yes. Alright then. What's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. Even though the train is delayed, it should be able to make up time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it? I couldn't give a monkey's, really. If only the all good news cancelled out the bad. And look, its trials made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. How do you like that? Well, let them say what they want, if I care. I can't, because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Bruno. Don't worry. Bruno will show everyone that absolute nonsense. I will. And then in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Bruno? Oh, yes, let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Wow, it's like she's right in front of me.
Today's paper has been entered into the court record.
Good luck then, Bruno. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest. But, thank you, Iris. Very kind of you. Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Ginny. Well, I was wondering, is all about Jones. Did they, fix him up all right? Yes, the operation was a great success, but Ellie still hasn't come around yet. That's a lie. I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No, there's a toe and no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today, and prove that Gina's innocent of this crime.
Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel of defense. The trial is about to begin. Please make your way to the courtroom.
It's time then. Yes. Let's go, Gina. Iris. Lead the way, Bruno. Ooh. I know I'm messing with the voices sometimes, but who cares? Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory. If I've learnt anything from my great friend, it's that... Oh, it's that. I thought it was a carry-on. Oh wow, they got very lazy with like the models did, yeah.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. This trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution. Ready.
The defense is ready.
Lord Van Zykes,
My lord.
remind me how many years ago it was that you withdrew from public prosecution service.
Some 5 years ago, my lord.
Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly. Here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that you have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years ago, like 5 years past. Who dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government.
Really?
Yet today you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel.
There are 2 types of person to hide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large.
It's a shame your government turned out that way, isn't it, Lorenzo? He means Mr. McGilden. Were you defending against the Reaper 2 months ago? Yes, I just about managed to work that out, thank you. Magnus McGilden. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him.
And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to affect total betrayal by the power. In other words, the company from those tiny islands east, the beneath.
Did he really just say that? Well, yeah, it's kind of racist, don't you think? He means you now, Bruno. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zyght's eyes. Was that directed solely at me, or was he talking about all Japanese people? Yeah, he really doesn't like us. I think that was clear.
An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zyght's. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London malefactors.
Your lordship is too kind.
Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial.
Blimey, look who it is. Alright, so we've got let me have a think. We've got the old man from the last trial. I'm pretty sure the second person was in the first one. Our first main trial, which was case 3. This guy was a witness in the first actual case we did. He was the weird guy with the hat that wouldn't stay on. We have the old man who is now apparently a doctor. We have the woman who was on the typewriter, but she's just got headphones on now. And we got the guy on the end. Now, I'm not going to spoil who the guy on the end is. Because if you've followed this story all the way through, you'll know exactly who it is.
Former lieutenant in the British Army here. Don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready.
Clean cockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate, I think. Everything will be stereoscopic in future. Absolutely everything. And I'm ready for it.
I don't understand it. I can't have left it, and possible.
Would I have?
Woman indispensable in society. Stop. A female-centric future awaits. Stop.
Good day. I am visiting from...
No, that's kind of a Japanese one. How can I put this properly?
Yes, good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing.
No, I'm just going Japanese again.
I would like to take a bus to Crystal Tower, please.
Something wrong, Bruno? Oh, not exactly. It's just, I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact. Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it's quite strange. These jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know. So I've been led to believe that something tells me I'm being duped. Or more likely, because this game is in complete 3D, they ran out of time to do all the models, and it was much easier to do sprite work back in the day. So they kind of run out of the budget, which means, yeah, that's kind of what happens when you put most of your case, never mind, into.
Very well. Now, Lord Van Zyght's, the court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case.
As you wish. Allow me to begin with a word of warning, ladies and gentlemen of the court. There has never been a more self-evident case for cold-blooded murder. The victim is the Pop Winterbank, proprietor of a pawn shop, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory.
And what's that supposed to tell us?
It means the victim was likely shot from someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say. The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photographs as evidence, my lord.
Indeed. The court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please.
The autopsy report has been entered into the court record. The crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record. Now I will ask the court to turn its attention to the plan of the establishment where the incident. The proprietor will.
Try that again. We try that again. And maybe not like butcher my voice at the same time.
The proprietor found in the storeroom where the kept articles owned. A windowless room, single point of entry. Door to the main shop was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only 2 persons present. The victim, Mr. Winterbank, and the accused.
I can't get over the fact that that guy's on the jury. That is going to be so funny.
It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, he had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet.
Look, you don't fall down with the weapon in your hand. It's one of them filthy drugs all the slums. Oh well, it's only a matter of time before she gets blood in her hands then.
Objection!
We can't just jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she's done. She has to do to survive.
My learned Nipponese, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There are witnesses.
Good gracious.
After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pick-purse or cold-hearted kid. Here's to establish it.
The court will take the four-plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zykes.
At once, my lord. The crime scene floor plan has been entered into the court record. Winterbank's revolver has been entered into the court record.
This isn't good. I feel like the mood here is very gloomy all of a sudden. I think that's because it has.
Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses of the foul murder of Mr. Pop Winterbank on the 16th of April of this year. Witnesses, state your names and occupation report.
Name's Nash Scullin. Occupation is body. Professional body. Name's Ringo Scullin. Occupation same as him.
Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector.
That's right. We're what they call the Free Scullin Breviers.
What are you looking at me for? Like that for? Don't lump me in with you lot. Oh, blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through?
It's our older bruv. We lost contact with him. We have. So we're scouring every shady corner of the capital. And then last night we come across you. The very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo? He is, Nush, he is. Very spit of him. So we decided that so we decided there and then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call ya Big Bruv Scully.
Come on, leave it out, you two.
Bully Skulkin. And that's before he's run out of chips.
Well then, Inspector Scully Gregson.
Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias.
What I would like to know, Inspector, is what are you doing in the witnesses stand?
The Scullin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord. Suspicion of theft.
Thieves they are, those free.
No, my lord. Begging your pardon. Please don't let me in with these lot. 2 nights ago, these two brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. And in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister.
By Jove! You mean to say... What an extraordinary coincidence.
Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed the proprietor's murder.
Wow, he didn't say this guy gets a box. Wow.
Order! Order!
The various trespassing of these brothers are not to be is not the subject of today's proceeding. Though they will naturally face trial in the very near future.
With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand.
Mr. and Mr. Scullin. Skulkin.
Mr. Skulkin. You will now testify before the courts. Describe the events of the night in question and what exactly you saw.
Happy to. There's a skulkin's never skulking.
Sure.
Get out of it.
Illegal entry.
We was walking down Better Street in the small hours. It gaps the door was ajar, you see.
It was like some poor sign begging for us to go in, it was.
But once we got inside, oh blimey llama, we heard a gunshot from the back room.
We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from inside.
We done nothing, Governor. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet.
Governor. I love that. I didn't do nothing, Governor. I didn't leave nothing, Governor.
A terrible coincidence it would seem. At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot.
The witness's testimony is consistent with crime scene in here. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from inside. And within, only the victim used found.
I must say it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now, of course. Counsel, if you please. Counsel.
Yes. What's the matter, Runo? Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair on the stand. I know that it's all nonsense, because I saw it in my own eyes. I'll just have to expose the testimony for the pack of lies that it is. They're the ones that shot Mr. Sholmes, basically. Okay. Gaff's jaw was ajar. Well, first off, it wasn't. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's about Mr. McGildy. We've got nothing to really prove it, so let's press it instead. The front door of Winterbanks was ajar, you said. What time of night was this?
Must have been around 1, right, Ringo?
Yeah, I'd say so. Right, Scully?
How would I know? The place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. But it was pitch black beside it. It's true. Ain't no right, Ringo.
Oh, I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Sulky? It's not Scully, it's Sulky. The old mucker.
Leave me alone.
There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place.
And when these gentlemen ventured into the open establishment, the accused, Miss Ina Lestrade, had already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim.
Objection!
pure conjecture.
Ha, perhaps, but it changed nothing. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle of a cold-blooded murder, simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside.
Right, that's what happened. Some kind of sign. Let's leave that one. Someone's got inside cold blimey. We get gunshot from the back room. Nah. A gunshot, you say? Just the one? Are you sure about that? Yup, just the one, Governor. I can swear to that. It was, Nosh, it was. Ain't that right, bruv?
The firearm belonged to the victim himself.
Yes. Mr. Winterbank always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter. Right. I remember.
When we examined it, we found the revolver was completely out of rounds.
That makes sense. Mr. Winterbank always used to say he only kept a single bullet loaded. That's true. I remember him saying that as well.
So we can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as the murder weapon.
Yes, my lord, we can. And I should remind the court that the firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused.
Wonderful. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. Well, you can still see through the door. Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom?
If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would. Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there is only one other door. That's of the storeroom.
Of course, there was only a little oil lamp burning. Not much to see, boy. And the door was in the curtain, no? That's right. When we arrived, the door is mostly obscured by the curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door? Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I should think.
Oh, well, that's your turn to Rabbit Ringo.
Well, Nash, yeah, I suppose you have to say we ain't normal, eh?
Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gun scream. The timid flee, moved away, while the courageous see if they. These gentlemen are the latter inclination. And if you it would seem, my learned Nipponese friend would seem is the former.
Alright, somehow I just proved that I was a coward that night.
Thank you, counsels. So, I believe we are all understood that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses.
We never took nothing, we just left nice and quiet.
Hold it!
You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story?
Well, it was bedlam It was bedlam soon as, wasn't it? It was, Nosh, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out me Lucy lockets. Oh, with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left nice and quietly, you say? That's right, Governor. Not and we ain't more than violence. These loving nibblers. We are not bludgers. We are, Nosh. We are. Never even pulled me dukes out my Lucy lockets. So, you'd clearly like us to believe. There, come again. As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person?
Saints alive! They fired a gun, you say?
Blimey, Governor. Are you telling us it was you in the doorway? It was. Why the bleeding Nora? Didn't you mention that before? You were armed with a gun. As you fled the scene, you fired that gun. At London's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes. The beauty of like just pressing until you get the evidence you need. On that night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of being of a shot having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from brothers.
Yes, indeed. Remnants of powder around the muzzle, you say, counsel. The court will hold this weapon as evidence.
The Skulkin brothers' gun has been entered into the court record. Now, yes? Here's to you successfully presenting. For yes, there are telltale signs of spent powder on the gun and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at sea. At the scene of the crime under scrutiny. Trial.
Objection!
Well, I don't need evidence. Because I was there.
Objection!
However, the rest of us in the courtroom were not. If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on.
Evidence that these two fired a gun before they left Winterbanks that night.
The court demands that all claims are found with clear proof. What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the pawnbrokers that night?
Surely we can present this.
Take that!
The evidence is in this portfolio.
What on earth have you there, counsel?
During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of bloodstains.
Not trusting the police to do their job they're trained to do. How arrogantly Nipponese.
Well, anyway, we analysed all the blood samples and found and recorded the results in this portfolio.
And you claim to have evidence the court is demanding therein.
Yes, my lord.
No more dallying in council. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves the witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene?
Oh, it's right there, you know, where Pollock Sholm's blood is spattered across the calendar.
Take that!
What is that? Explain.
It's a photographic print, taken at Winterbank's pawnbrokery on the day of the incident.
From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? If my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged in there.
Yes, your lordship. Yes, as your lordship noticed, the bullet pierced Mr. Winterbank's calendar. Date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death.
The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight, but this indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th.
That's right, and while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes this is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round of their gun at the pawnbrokers that night. They don't exactly hide it, do they? But, hey, gods!
Order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zykes?
Conjecture. If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, the prosecution, no objection.
What?
But you'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And, like the bold baddies they claimed to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back into the street.
Take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna land us in this soup. We all deal. You were gonna get into them details. Tell him, Silky. Set the bloke straight.
I have nothing to add.
So he knew, did he? Van Zykes knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes.
It would seem now they owe my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that you've heavily confirmed an important fact.
To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zykes?
As has been established, at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from Bubba's gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholm, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting prior to his victim. In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Winterbank at all.
So that's it. We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't. That's what I reckon.
Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and let us not forget, attempted murder. Quite a catalogue, eh, fellas?
They were like, yeah, we got away with it. Go us. And then they're just like, oh, you meant all that other stuff as well. We're in for it now, bruv.
Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
See, no matter how much time it takes to memorize this guy's name, I'm always gonna end up defaulting back to Sherlock Holmes.
It would seem the man patronized the pawnbroker in question somewhat regularly.
Where's he going with this?
Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery.
Eccentric? Says who? Not me. Don't give me that look.
He installed a pair of machines like this one in his shop.
Oh, that's one of Ellie's red-handed recorders.
What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption.
As your lordship has summarized, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device.
Every half an hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, he would be caught red-handed.
The prosecution has obtained the photograph taken by the device on the night in question. As the court will observe, copious identical photos are produced. A quite desultory fact.
Rather prodigible, I feel.
In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer the court to the plan of the premises, their respective positions are here and here.
You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I am afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducts his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals.
One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera.
What's a bit of a fire truck air, bro? Lady Lux loves a skulking.
Witnesses, at what time did your trespassing begin?
Must have been just after 1, right, bruv? Must have been, Nosh. Must have been, yeah? Just gone 1.
In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment, what scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence.
Well done, Diggity.
Good lord! It's the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection. That evidence has been fabricated.
as the court can clearly see. The accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his store.
Quiet! One can only too easily imagine the events that have followed. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you please, counsel.
The photograph of Gina has been entered into the court record.
I don't believe it. Ginny.
In short, the accused is the only person who could have possibly killed Mr. Windabow.
I say, my lord.
Wonder if I might put in a word at point.
Go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Took a bally bullet to the knee in the Battle of Maiwand. 1880, don't you know? Decorated it and all that, but forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, the medal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield.
Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point?
Carried on the battle after retirement, you see. Battle of daily life. And here I am, leading this small squadron, 6 men all good and true. We'll all go down together, mark my words. One for all for one. Ladies and gentlemen, jury have reached agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand?
Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct?
In a manner of speaking, yes. That is the Garrity Squadron's position, sir.
What? No, it's too soon to make a judgment.
Such a support for the court men on the double.
His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions too. I think we'll just reach the truth as clear as day. I could reach out and touch it.
I wouldn't have left it in there, I just wouldn't, but in all honesty, I not actually remember.
Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth is now undeniable. Stop.
I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky.
Very well.
Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this manner. Announce your considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Excellent. So now we get to pit the jury against each other. Brilliant. But that will have to wait until we can save. Save complete. Nice. So what a cliffhanger to end on there, eh? We have our unfortunate friend. It's begun and is now gonna fail at life, fail at everything. I feel so incredibly sorry for them. And with that ends another wonderful day. I hope you had fun. as I've had fun straining my voice and doing voices for all those, especially the strange man in the corner.
Guilty.
I know exactly who that is. If you haven't seen the earlier episodes, you won't know who that is. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and the rest of your time today is spent effective sleeping and looking after yourself. Always remember to watch your back, and if you are going to commit a crime, just make sure there's nothing recording you. Otherwise, you run into situations like this where you're put into a court and you got a jury of 6 people who are beyond stupid that can't really help you. So they're just sending you to prison anyway, even though I guess you're lynched in this universe. But oh well. I hope you have a wonderful night. You get pleasant sleep. You have a positive tomorrow when I next see you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourself.